everybody, and welcome to another Qwiktro. It is I, as always, me, ReActionExaminer, Tristan J, whatever. Today, I'm going to be showing you something that might look recognizable. Some of you might think, hey, this looks like Disgaea. But no, it's not Disgaea. This is the Guided Fate Paradox, a PS3 exclusive JRPG that is pretty unique. So, this guy right here, this is God. Yes, all you Christians, this is not Jesus Christ, this is Renya. And Renya is a pretty lucky, while unlucky high school student who randomly won the lottery and he became God. And this is his personal servant, Liliel, and he lives in Celestia where he must fulfill the duties of God by granting wishes. I know it sounds like he's a genie, but that's just what God does in this universe. It's, let's see, it's very anime heavy. It's, like I said, it's like Disgaea in the tone. The music and the art style is all kind of very Disgaea-like. It's very complicated too, also like Disgaea, so I thought it was very important that I make a little gameplay demo of this to show off all the techniques and skills and abilities at your service. So this is the kind of the hub world. These are all like your little angel pals, and they have all kinds of stuff. The dialogue is pretty funny. Let's see if something happens here. No, but trust me, there's some funny dialogue in here. Okay, how about you? This guy's pretty cool.
How reliable?
Okay, well, trust me, just trust me on it. There's funny dialogue in the story. The story itself is kind of slow. I'll get into that when we get in the dungeons. But, so you got like a blacksmith here, and the thing is, all your weapons can kind of level up, and once they reach a thing called the burst, I'm pretty sure it's burst or blast. Yeah, so once it reaches the burst level, it can basically be evolved. So this dagger is +5. So you upgrade it using some of your gold, and it'll become a +6 dagger. And the percentage, like, see how the burst point, it's over there. So why didn't I look over there? The burst point is 220%. So as you go in the dungeon, I'll actually go over this, but so this is the blacksmith. You can strengthen your shit here. Here's an item store. You can buy stuff, everything from equipment to items to cure yourself, whatever. Holy artifacts are things that go into this divinagram. And the divinagram is kind of like a sphere grid, I guess, in Final Fantasy X. Not really. So when you level up those weapons and they gain a burst point, you can use those points in this grid here, and you can just place it down. Holy artifact? No, implant a holy icon. So this is attack +1. So I'll put this down somewhere, and it'll increase my attack just a little bit. See, it went from +18 to +19. So, and then this little thing here, it strengthens it. So the farther away it is, the more it'll strengthen. Like if I turn this around, hold on. Implement holy icon. Nope. It's holy artifact. How do you do this thing? It's been a while. Oh, there we go. So you can just change the direction, and it'll make the thing that's closer become super powerful. So I could do that to that thing over there, or that thing down there, and it'll basically make this thing uber stronger than it normally was before. So yeah. So that's that. Another thing to make you stronger. At the bottom there, it says total level 77. And this is actually fairly early in the game. I didn't want to show my end game stuff just because you would a couple spoiler kind of things. Also, I was a little bit uber powerful, so I went back to an old save, which I normally do to save for spoilers as well. But the leveling is very weird, and I basically got all the stuff taken care of in this place. There's like galleries for records and stuff. You can look at art and all that kind of stuff. But let's just go into a dungeon. So you talk to Liliel, and she can jump you into any of these circuits. So you go into a thing called the Fate Circuit, I can never remember what it's called, just because the name of the game is the Guided Fate Paradox. I always want to call it the Fate Paradox Machine, but it's the Fate Guided Circuit, something like that. Anyway, I'm screwing this up. Forgive me. But yes, it's this machine that basically lets you go into people's desires. We'll go into this mermaid one, which each one is kind of like an episode. There's an overarching story about like angels fighting with devils or whatever. That's very slow to get off with, but every episode or every chapter is like an episode of something. So this one, you're trying to help this mermaid solve this crisis with her sister, and yeah. And then the first one was like Cinderella. The second one was a funny zombie weird thing. So they all have different tones. Some of them are funnier, some of them are just weird, some of them are actually kind of heartfelt or whatever. But so this is a dungeon, and a dungeon will randomly generate. You walk around the world, and the monsters will come towards you. So, I control Renya, and my partner Liliel is kind of automatic. So it's actually turn-based. So I'll go within his grid. She can attack when I move. Every single time I actually move the grid, that's an attack turn. So they can attack me if I go into the white space over there. Once I enter that, it'll turn red, because that means they can start attacking me now, and I can attack them or whatever. She has a longer range with her magic, that's why she was able to attack. Anyway, so you just did that. You can use a skill. Every single piece of equipment is actually has a skill to it. You can have a headpiece, 2 weapons, and if you equip 2 weapons, actually, like we'll do my 2 hand axes, I got pants and then a cape. So every one of these has a technique to it. So if you have 2 of the same weapon, they'll unleash a stronger attack. So let's just show that off. It's pretty sweet. And every single thing has a technique, and it's all pretty cool and very unique. So, you know, we level up in the dungeon. I'm at level 2 now. Now, at the end of dungeons, whether I exit out with my exit tool, this little exit item, or I exit out by finishing the dungeon itself, your stats will increase based on your level as well as some other stuff. So if I get kind of high, my overall status will go up like 3 points to HP, 3 points to defense, etc. I mean, I'm not going to be as powerful as I would be in the dungeon. Like, let's say I make it to level 20, and my HP is 183 right now. It'll probably go up to like 300 if I make it that high. But, I mean, it'll only increase the base stat once you leave the dungeon. So leveling is kind of weird, and it's kind of frustrating that you have to re-level up every single time you go into a dungeon. But the dungeons at least start off small. Like, if you saw, those were all like level 2s down there. So it's not like they'll scale with you. So it's not like it starts off really hard. Except for some of the later dungeons, some of them get pretty tough. But so once you're in the dungeon, you can see that little green dot walking around there. So that's me, so you can keep track of. And then once you get to a space, the space will appear on your map, basically. And this is a different one compared to other dungeons, in that other dungeons are kind of more, how to describe it, more dungeony, I guess. You know, very straight lines and not a lot of like exploration, but not as open. Like, I can't just go to a bunch of things like this. But the point is, you're trying to make it to a certain part of the map, which lets you warp to the next level. After each completion of the level, it'll be another story thing. Which, like, again, it's kind of slow. There's some funny parts to a lot of the episodes and stuff like that, but overall, it's just kind of a slow-paced kind of thing. Also, traps. Just make sure you pick up all your stuff around the traps, because all your stuff will kind of go away or whatever. So, so you're basically looking for, okay, looking through that thingy, and attacking. No, I guess I'll kill this guy first, so boom. And then you can obviously attack like that without having to use this or whatever. So you're looking for this, and it'll transfer to the next floor. And since I already completed this level, it's not going to show me the story or whatever. So you can just skip that another time. So I'm just going to show you the battles or whatever. These things kind of suck because they're armored and you can't really use skills against them. Plus they have a range. So if I try attacking those things with a skill, they would block them. So I always take care of those things first. And other monsters like those. Alright, so they drop money in gold. You have basically limited item inventory, which also kind of sucks. So I only have 22 spaces. It looks like I only have 14 to 22 with math, like 8 spaces left. That would be correct. Another thing is, now that I see this apple core, is you must eat. So I have my HP and my SP, that's my skill points, magic obviously. And then you see the EN, that is my food intake. Every single thing I do will decrease my food stuff. So now it's 84%. If I eat that apple core, it'll go up whatever the apple core is supposed to be. I think the apple core is only 5. This is 50 and for a whole one or whatever. And basically, if you use skills or HP or whatever, it'll deteriorate that N. And if you make it to 0 for that, you'll start to lose HP. So it's kind of like, I guess in a lot of video games, whenever you're underwater, you have a life meter for under the water, and then you have a life meter, and once you run out of the deterioration of your water limit, then your food limit, or you know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking in circles or whatever. That's another frustrating thing about the game as well. It's very fun. I'll put that out there right now. It's very unique. It's very fun. It's super addictive to go back in the dungeons, level up, get your equipment leveled up. Which actually, so this is burst, and the sucky thing about burst is if you level up equipment in the field. Like, this +2 is 20% and 5% for critical or whatever. And so this is 11% and 5%. The thing is, once you use burst, the stats that it was before will decrease. So it's weaker than what it was normally at just a +1. So until I burst it out and upgrade it, it's going to be weak. Which sucks for the dungeon if you only have a couple weapons to switch out. And if you want to do a two-handed attack, I mean, you could just keep it with it, but it's kind of better to just switch it out and make something else to kind of level each up or whatever. That's what I usually do. I usually find a lot of weapons and gear in the field, so I usually switch them out just so I can get more of the tiles, more of the equipment, more gold, I guess, because things that are in burst level, they can sell for more gold. So I'll do a javelin, and wow, all of her stuff is super leveled. So give her another ice gauntlet. No extra heads, damn it, or bodies. That's another thing if you can't notice. So all the equipment that you put on, every single thing is viewable, basically. Like all the weapons, all the gear. Liliel obviously does not have a mermaid tail. I have the gas mask for a head, and putting like all the stuff you can use on any person. So putting that ribbon on Renya is pretty funny. You can make your characters look pretty goofy in this game, and that's another small charm of it. But don't be fooled that it's, I guess Disgaea is, I'm sorry to keep on bringing it up, but it's the same developers, so, there you go. But I feel that Disgaea is a little bit more straightforward, a little bit easier. I mean, you gotta grind in that game too, but I feel this game was a little bit not unforgiving, but just a little bit harder from the get-go. Like, for instance, if you do die in a dungeon, basically you lose, not your progress for, like, your levels and stuff, but you lose every single item in your inventory, not just the equipped stuff, but every single item in your inventory unless you store it. And then you have to restart all the progress, obviously, you made in the dungeon. And dungeons are... It starts off as 5 and 5. So after that 5th level of progression, you get to take a break, recharge yourself, and you get to save it. You can suspend a save, basically, in a dungeon. Not that button. Where's the message log? Man, it's been a long time since I've... Whatever, this is very frustrating for me. I'm very confused, actually. No, not that. Oh, duh. You saw it before when I was in that thing or whatever. It said, would you like to progress, no, yes, or suspend? And suspending your data means you can basically save in between the floor. Once you reload that save, that means you gotta start all over again. Or not start all over again, but there's no save. So, I mean, adults are busy people. We have very busy lives. So, I mean, I can't just play a game. Like, dungeons take a long time, especially if you have to level up and stuff. And if you go through like an entire hour-long dungeon and you lose all of your equipment and stuff, and you can't restart because if you not save it after losing all your equipment, that means you lose a whole hour of stuff. But if you do save it and go on from there, that means you lost all that stuff you've been working for like this entire time. So it's a hand toss. I mean, for RPG fans, it's super fun. There's a deep combat system. It's super cool. I like it a lot. Fans of anime especially, like, oh, see, there's the suspend thing. But fans of anime will probably really, really like this game. And, yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's really hard, though. So know what you're getting yourself into. It's no walk in the park, basically. Just some of the monsters later on, you can just get caught yourself. And, if you lose all your food, because you can only find food in the field. And sometimes it'll be plentiful, and sometimes it won't be, because it's randomly generated. It's just, Oh, this is actually really cool. When you go to different when you go to different levels, you find randomly generated zones that are basically kind of bonus rounds. Sometimes it'll be good, like lots of monsters. I mean, that won't be a good one, but sometimes it'll be good, like all these items, but sometimes it'll be bad and be like super hard monsters. But it turns out it's a cool thing. So, yeah, a little in between. Doesn't count as the floor itself, but yeah. Also, you can choose to... How did I bring that? All the buttons are kind of weird, too. Use the analog stick to pick up stuff. And, yeah. Oh, no. Wazoo. Wazoo of enemies, which I think is always funny. And, of course, you can throw stuff at enemies, and just like this guy and stuff. And I don't know. It's, gosh, it's a really hard game to review. Not in the literal sense, in that it was hard for me because it's a hard game, which it is. Hard in that there's so many good things about it, but there's so many things I don't like as well. And dislike is a harsh word, as well as hate. It's just uneven all around the boards. It's a niche title, even more niche than Disgaea, which is kind of hard to get, because Disgaea I thought was about as niche as I thought it would probably come, but it's niche. Let's just say that. Mermaid legs, bat wings, stuff. No. And the inventory thing, I don't like that. The toughness thing, just there's a lot. I want you to buy this game. I think this game is definitely worth the purchase, if not a rent or something like that. Let me just get to it, and you'll see why my score is still a good score. I'm giving this game a 3 out of 5. A 3 out of 5 is a very, very good score. It's not the best score. That's because it's not... Oh my god, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. It's not the best of game for everybody. This will not appeal to everybody. It's for a certain group, very niche, people who love hard RPGs and hard games. They will eat this game right up. For me, I like it quite a bit. It's very frustrating, but it's very, very rewarding. It's like Dark Souls. It's just, you'll lose a lot if you die, but if you get the risk-reward kind of thing, if you put yourself out there, you'll get some awesome equipment. It's just, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of talking just lackadaisical or whatever, and just very confused, but it's a good game. It's a very, very good game. It's not the perfect game. It's not for everybody, but it will appeal to a certain type, and I'm one of those types. If you listen to the show, maybe you're one of those types too. And if especially like maybe you don't like hard RPGs, but you like NIS stuff, you'll still probably eat this one up. Yeah, but I hope this at least will give you a better clue of how the game works. Probably not, because I'm talking like an idiot. But yeah, it's fun. And you should read my actual written review if you want it to be more concise and not all wishy-washy. I do not prepare scripts for these things. I just kind of play the game, and I'm trying to concentrate on playing the game as well as obviously telling you stuff about said game. But yeah, it's fun, and I think you should get it.